Welcome to Retrobot, the YouTube channel where we feed a friendly space robot a diet of pure nostalgia. I'm Clay, and this is part 3 of our Short Circuits series all about Warbotron. Warbotron is a third-party combiner toy that is inspired by Transformers Combaticons that transform into Bruticus. And here he is. And as you can see, in his combined form, he really does look great. And in this video, we are going to be focusing on Airburst, the space shuttle that makes up the arm. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. So here you see Airburst, the Warbotron space shuttle that is inspired by Transformers Combaticon Blastoff. And you can immediately see that they've taken a few liberties. He is far more detailed in his textures, and his color is a brown hue rather than being more green. I love the translucent plastics, and you can see that I have him positioned here at an angle that just helps you to see some of the details on the top and bottom a little bit better. But he is an excellent looking ship. Kind of space age, kind of utilitarian. It's really nicely done. Very good reimagining of that figure. He's got a couple guns here on either side, and these are removable. They just peg into these holes, and there are holes on the undersides of the wings that they can peg into as well. So you can just put those under here. You can even, I kind of like to have them in this set of holes, and I'll just fold the foot back up so that he can sit flat. And we'll put that one right there. So there we go. And now you can see that he's got guns under the wings, which is cool. Again, very nice vehicle mode. He's also got landing gear. You can see that right here, and that does fold up. So you can fold in the landing gear, and the wings are hinged, and these are snapped together joints. So, you know, this one just pulls right out. You can see the hinge there, and it just pegs on. So I guess technically speaking, you could perhaps, well, no, that peg does not fit there. And this is something that I was talking about in the last part of this video, which was about Sly Strike, about how there are pegs and holes that are different diameters from the weapons scattered randomly around these guys. It's something that I don't quite understand, because while I get that they may want to make sure that you put the wings in the right place, what would be so bad about allowing you to put the wings in the wrong place? I feel like that just adds to the playworthiness. But, you know, it's a small thing. I would also think that the engineering would be simpler if all of your pegs and holes were compatible with each other. There's less to keep track of if you don't have specific diameters for some things that don't match up with specific diameters of others. Nonetheless, the vehicle mode really does look awesome for this guy. He just looks great. And of course, the vehicle mode is only part of it. He transforms into a robot. So let's go ahead and show how that happens. So here we have him, and I'm going to take the guns off of the wings for now. I do not have to remove the wings in order to transform him, which is nice. So you can see I've already folded up the landing gear. The feet have landing gear kind of molded in. They don't roll, whereas the wheels in the front are actual functioning rolling wheels. These are just molded in, sort of wheel-like. They're impressions of wheels, but they don't go all the way around. It's fine. It's a small detail, and honestly, I don't know that it would be worth the extra expense for them to make those a separate piece just to have a little bit of skating action on the back panels here. So nonetheless, to start the transformation process, we are going to unlatch the nose cone right there. It just clicks on, and pull that out of the way. We are also going to, right in the side panels here, you can see that there is a little bit of a catch. And I'm going to try and get that with my thumbnail. It is advantageous to have fingernails for this guy. I'm going to try and go underneath here. Yeah, there we go. And so we're going to open both of those panels on either side. If you bite your fingernails, you might want to get like a little micro screwdriver or just something a little bit sharp and pointy for some of the things when you're transforming these guys, because there are some tight bits that you have to get your fingers into in order to grasp them. And so we can also, I'm going to separate the legs, because the legs pull in and out. And I've found that it's a lot easier to just pull one leg at a time than it is to try and pull the friction of both of them at the same time. So I'm going to grasp the lower leg firmly. I'm going to grasp the toy right here. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to fold down this little part of the wing and this little part of the wing. And now I'm going to give it a tug and just make sure that it's extended all the way. See, you heard that little click? That's important because that means that it is extended all the way. And I'm going to do the other one and give it a click. There it goes. That's another thing that's really nice about this toy. The engineering is tight. Even for a third-party transforming robot toy, which sometimes have a certain amount of inconsistencies, I have to say that the engineering on these guys is very, very tight, and it's a really nice feeling toy. Notice that you're not encountering a bunch of loosey-goosey joints. Everything clicks into position. They hold their position. Things are nice and tight and true. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold that wing down and then just put that against the side there. And I'm going to do the same on this side. And now notice this does seem like it can go that way, but it really doesn't. So we're just going to fold that like that. And then we have the feet here, and the feet do a very interesting maneuver. You're going to pull down the foot like this, and then you're going to flip the end of the foot over to create the front of the foot, and then you're going to push the thruster backwards to create a heel. So watch that again. I'm going to do it on this side. I'm going to pull that down like that, and then rotate the end like this, and then just push that thruster backwards. And the nice thing about that is that it creates an ankle joint. I mean, there's already a bit of a pivot here to give them a bit of an ankle, but if you need a more extreme tilt on the foot, then you can rotate this as necessary. So it works really nicely. And then we've got the arms here, which you're just going to pull those out from the back like this and spread them out like that, and you can see that here. And then you just pull these like that. You can see how the shoulders are just going in and out from there. So you're going to pull that forward, and then you close that panel there and close that panel there. And so at this point we can bring the arm forward and rotate the bicep. So again, I'm bringing the arm forward and then rotating the bicep like that. And then we have the fists, which we need. This is, again, you need to have some fingernails in order to grasp these guys. Either that or maybe a little pokey thing. So I'm going to get, let's see, that's not pokey enough. Here we go. So I'm going to use this pair of tweezers. That's going to help. And while, yeah, I'm using a pair of tweezers to get some of these things. And the reason is because, again, the joints on these are nice and tight. And so it's one of those things. It's like, okay, it's kind of hard to pull it out. Is that bad? I'm going to say it's not. It's actually a very nice quality toy that feels good. So if I have to grab a pair of tweezers or something in order to pull that out, in order to get a little bit of leverage, I'm okay with it. And then I'm going to rotate the fist. And again, as I pointed out in my last video, which was all about Sly Strike, the character that was inspired by Swindle, they all have these fists that open and close, and that's really cool. That is really, really cool. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to grab my tweezers this time. I'm not even going to try and get it with my own fingers, and I'm just going to hook that and pull it out like that, and then rotate and see he's got hands. So here we have these pieces that are going to separate, and see they're on ball joints with this little linkage post. And so we're going to rotate that around, and this happens to me a lot with this figure. When I'm positioning these, they tend to just pop out of the ball joint, and it's not a big deal. It snaps in and out very easily, and when it's snapped in, they hold their position. It's not like they're loosey-goosey, but they do come out pretty easily, just I think because the angles are awkward. And you know, that I think that's a little bit of a design flaw. It's hard. I'm using that word a little bit liberally because really the joints function exactly as they're supposed to, and the tolerance is nice and tight. I just think that it's an awkward angle, and there's a lot of stuff that it has to rotate around, and it's very easy while you're rotating it to end up pushing one of the short ends against something else, and then you rotate, and of course it's just going to pop right out. And I would rather that it pops out than it breaks or stresses the joint. It doesn't do either of those things. It seems to work really, really well, but it is a little bit annoying that I can't seem to transform him without popping at least one of those off of the joint. Nonetheless, we have him here, and now we can, if you notice, these back panels have this little panel here, so you can fold that in, and that allows you to close these, and we'll get the little shoulder thing out of the way. And so now we can close these doors again, and there's room for that shoulder to come through that panel. So I'm going to move that shoulder thing out of the way, and I've got this folded in, and when I close it, again, now look at how nice the back is. It is very clean back here. Now we do need to just have this, and you can point this down, you can point this back. There's not a whole lot that you can do with this little bit of kibble here, and you know, it's a small thing. They have a really clean back here, and then you have a little bit of excess kibble, but honestly, it doesn't really detract in any major or meaningful way from the robot mode of the toy, because as you can see, he looks really, really good. And then of course we've got these guns which can go right on the side, and if you remember, These are the holes that I had them pegged into originally when he was in spaceship mode, and then I moved them down to the wings. But oftentimes I just like to leave them on the arms, and then I rotate them around when he's in spaceship mode. But of course, if you've got one of these, you can put the guns anywhere you want. So let's go ahead and switch to the other view, and you can get a really good look at the robot mode. So here he is. Once again, this is Airburst, the Warbotron inspired by the Warbotron space shuttle that's inspired by the Transformers Combaticon blastoff, and he is in his robot mode. And as you can see here, he really does look fantastic. His articulation is just fantastic. I know I just said that, but you know, it really is. He's got a lot of shoulder movement here. He's got the swivels at the bicep. He's got pivoting elbows, rotating wrists. He's got a swivel at the waist. His hips are very nicely articulated. He's got a swivel in his thigh and a pivot at the knee, and of course he's got these ankle joints that allow his feet to be firmly planted on the ground at any time. The opening and closing hands just add to the effect. So you've got a really expressive guy. He's got the light piping in his eyes, which is very effective on this toy, and some fantastic translucent parts. You can see the detail here on the chest that looks great. He is just a beautiful toy. The brown tones that are almost a coppery color combined with the steely gray bits and the purple translucent parts really complement each other nicely. And then you combine that with these metallic purples here, and it creates just a really cool looking toy that is a lot of fun and looks the part. So yeah, this is his robot mode. He looks great. His joints are nice and tight, and he holds his poses. He's just I just have to say that he is awesome. He is awesome. I'm running out of adjectives to describe this guy. He also has an extra little feature here. In the back of the legs, we have these extra weapons here. And there's a slider in the side here. So we can do that, and it exposes some missiles. And then if we so chose, now they've got these pegs here, and you can flip out a longer handle which allows him to hold them. Again, the handles for the weapons that they hold are a little bit of a different shape and size than the other things that peg in. And I'm not sure why, but they did choose to do that. But so he's got these, and they're on both sides of his legs. I'm just showing the one here. But so there's a lot of play value in Airburst here. And again, he, of course, is inspired by Blastoff. But honestly, this is the best looking robot inspired by Blastoff, whether he's named Blastoff or not. He's almost in a class all of his own. And the addition of these hidden weapons that attach to the back, along with the nice translucent parts, it's a little bit of a toss-up because I have said earlier that Sly Spy is probably the strongest figure design-wise of this group. But if Sly Spy is the best figure in the group, Airburst is a very, very close second. He just looks great in his vehicle mode. He looks great in his robot mode. He's got the landing gear that's built in. He's got weapons that can be moved around to different positions. He's got excellent articulation. I think that really the only thing that keeps him from being at least as good as Sly Spy is the problem that I've encountered with the shoulders oftentimes kind of popping apart while I'm transforming him. But that's a small conceit for an otherwise fantastic toy. Now, if you look for them online, all of these guys have gotten a little bit harder to get a hold of. The set was originally released in 2014, but I recently got these because they went on super sale for pre-order several months ago from Big Bad Toy Store, but now they're mostly sold out. You can see the Big Bad Toy Store thing right here, and he is sold out. Again, they have him on super sale for $50. He is a little bit more expensive than the Sly Strike or Heavy Noise. Heavy Noisy, I guess, is his name, which, that's unfortunate. I've been calling him Heavy Noise, but it says Heavy Noisy. I'm going to ignore that and just call him Heavy Noise. But you can see these two retail around, at least the sale price is around in the 30s, whereas his sale price was $50. All of them are normally at a price of around $90 a piece, and that's a little bit steep when you compare him to a normal first party Hasbro figure of a similar size. But you have to remember that the Hasbro figures that you're getting of this size are not nearly this well articulated. The joints are rarely this tight, and they rarely look this good. The Hasbro toys that I've been getting lately are very, very good toys, and I'm a big fan, and I love just about all of them. But you are seeing things like hollow spots in the backs of the legs and the arms, and they feel much, much lighter, whereas a toy like this just has more material to it. It has more mass. They've put in a lot of the details where a major manufacturer like Hasbro really on their primary lines, they just have to cut some corners. They have to trim some costs. And these are smaller distribution, marketed for collectors, a lot of adult collectors that have the disposable income to invest in a higher quality toy. It's in some ways, maybe you don't want to call it a toy, maybe you want to call it a collectible. If that makes you sleep better, go ahead. Nonetheless, at $50, it's still pretty good. That's still really good for what you're getting. $90, you're investing in your collection. And since I never sell any of my toys, it's not really an investment, because investments you see a return on. The only return that I get is fun. And he is fun. That's the thing. These toys are fun. They look great. They capture the imagination. They deliver on the promise that was made way back in the 80s when we saw guys that looked just like these, or at least very similar, in cartoons, fighting with good guy robots and doing cool things. And actually, the cartoon characters never looked this good. We imagined that they did, but they didn't really. Look at a screenshot. So, inspired by Transformers Combaticon Blastoff, this is Warbotron Airburst, and he is just an excellent, excellent toy. I have to give him a very high recommend. So, if you like this review, then please click the thumbs up. And if you like this kind of content, then subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you know when we're doing more of these Short Circuits videos throughout the week, or when we're doing our Friday night live streams, which usually happen every Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern United States time. So check that out. It's a lot of fun. Join the chat and we'll toast you. And it's kind of a party atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. So, with all that being said, Warbotron Airburst, he's awesome. This is Clay telling you to keep it Retrobot. That's right. Right on the bot's face. Retrobot. And we're going to keep it there. That's what it means to keep it Retrobot. Guess it means to keep the word Retrobot on your robot's face. Which we actually have lots of robots here. None of them have the word Retrobot actually on the face. But the guy in this picture does. So we're just going to go with that.